All right, everyone, this is a special video for a special friend. Britt, giving you what you asked for. All right, up here, and I know I've done this before, this video before, but you might have a hard time finding it because it's like way down somewhere off in journaling or whatever. But these are my Bible books. That over there that I told you about, that I sent you the screenshot for, that is the Aramaic English translation. And then there's the Linear Bible, which is Hebrew, Greek, and English. This is so that I can get exactly what was said, how it was said. And then here is the Holman Christian Standard Bible in large print, Reference Bible. And then I showed you that was my King James Version from the Schofield Study Bible. And these two are the uncanonized scriptures. So there's two books of these uncanonized scriptures. I sent you screenshots, so we don't have to go through all of that. And you already know about these books from my author friends who sent me these, who I'm so grateful for. And the only one that I am not a friend of or not affiliated with in any way at all is Timothy Alberino, Birthright. And I never finished reading that. I really wanted to, but I never got to it. All right, you're already familiar with my, what you would call it, devotionals and so forth and so on, and my little hymnal and all that stuff, that's in honor of Granny. All right, so wait a second here. I might have to get, my battery is low. Yep, and this won't reach. All right, so anyhow, the books that I was referring to. Okay. These are books that are part of my past nostalgia type stuff. I am not interested in joining a book club because I don't read books like that. But there's The Son of Rosemary's Baby, right? The Son of Rosemary. That book I liked a lot. I give it a definite thumbs up because at the end of the book, you find out that it was God's way of telling her that if you move into the Bram, spoiler alert, that this is the bad things that's going to happen in the world. And the weight of the world is on your shoulders. So you either not move into the Bram and walk with God, or either you go and move into the Bram and all hell breaks loose. It's an intense part 2 of Rosemary's Baby. I wish it was in large print. I wish the Rosemary's Baby was in large print and hardback like this. I liked Rosemary's Baby. I had this for years. It's rough, it's tough, but when you get to part 2, you realize that all of the things that happened in the book Rosemary's Baby was a dream, and it was God giving her a warning of what would happen if she moved into the Bram. And we never know whether she chose to move into the Bram or not, because that's where Ira Levin left it off. Okay, the next one is the Romanov Prophecy. That is a childhood favorite, that story of how that family was murdered, executed. I love this fictional version of it, but it was the one thing that I remember getting an A in, and the one thing I remember being scared to death from when I was in history class. And so I got that book, and it was phenomenal. It gives you a closure. It gives you, it puts a lot of pieces together. I just love the way that's a definite thumbs up. Then there's Mommy Dearest. Okay, see if I can get down there closer. There's Mommy Dearest, which was phenomenal. And in the movie was phenomenal. I've had that book for years. Like I said, another nostalgic thing. Burnt Offerings, another book that is a movie. I love the movie, but the book is better. Of course it's better. In Burnt Offerings, you realize that the caretaker, that quirky caretaker, he tells her, that you agreed to this. That you consciously sacrificed your family and yourself for this house, you know, and you can't turn back. It's like he gave her this warning. I wish that had been included in the movie. So I love Burnt Offerings. The other one is just scary stories to tell in the dark. I used to do an ASMR thing where I would tell the spooky stories and I do all the vocalization. It was fun. I loved doing it. I just, I don't know. I don't know. My history is in drama. My mother did theater. I did theater. So I don't know. But I find that dramatic readings is like one of my favorite things to do. Then there's Stephen King's, what is that? I can't even see. Stephen King. These are little short stories by Stephen King. And then there's, of course, Judy Blume's Deanie and Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. These are library books that I had as a child. And I loved Deanie. I don't know why. But it was just, I was in elementary school. And then I have Barack Obama's book, Maya Angelou's book. Let's see what else here. I have Angela's Ashes, and then I have the part 2 to, I forgot what it is. But it's the story from Frank McCourt. If you ever saw the movie Angela's Ashes, I think Gary said you saw it, or Otera saw it. I don't mean to call her Otera, Melissa. And I wanted to see what happened after he escaped poverty and he made it to New York City. And those are 2 large print books, of course. And I never read it. And I never read Angela's Ashes. I've been dying to read it to find out how it differs from the movie. Fried Green Tomatoes, I haven't finished that. I love the movie. I know the book is phenomenal. Out of the Dark by Mandisa, you know how much I loved her. I just needed to find out some of her struggles because I know her and I had a lot in common. Julia, Full Circle, aka The Haunting of Julia. The movie is phenomenal. I love the movie. I just wish that it was a little longer. I love that house that she lived in London. But the book gives you more detail, gives you more background history. But yet it leaves out some of the most important factors that are in the movie. So if you watch the movie and you read the book, you get the full experience. Then there's Member of the Wedding. All right, let me pull that out. Member of the Wedding. This is also another book that was a movie that I love so much, about how this girl struggled through puberty, falling in love with someone's wedding, wanting to break free out of her boyish body, wanting to break free from being a child. And I remember those feelings. Like, I would go to other people's weddings because I was forced to go, right? And I would be dressed as a child with my pigtails, and I would be like, how great it would be to have a man come and sweep me off my feet. How much I just wish I could just be old enough to have a boyfriend. How I just wish I could be old enough to do the things that people do in soap operas that Granny watches, And it was so painful because I would go to these weddings and I'd fall in love with the wedding, the beautiful bride, and just to have a man love you, that he wants to marry you. It's just crazy. So I could relate to that book, and it was hilarious and it was sad at the same time. Then there's The Learning Tree. This is the one book that I was given to read, and I think I told you this, in high school, that I got an A on. No, a B. I think it was a B plus, because it was a book that correlated with my culture, my race, and his fear of death. And I had a fear of death when I was in high school because I didn't totally understand heaven. I thought that when you die, you go to the grave and that's it. I didn't know that there was a spirit, this book was just a lot for me. So I watched the movie, and I read the book, and they're both phenomenal. They're both phenomenal. And again, I am not going to join a book club. And then there's Summer of Fear, another book that we read in Scholastic Book Club. And all the little kids get to choose the books that they wanted. And it was so, euphoric, to get that order form and to be able to order the books that you want. And then, like 3 months later, you would get this big order of books in the classroom, and the teacher would give you, like a few minutes to look at your order and be happy about it. And I wanted Summer of Fear. And then it became a movie. I loved the movie, but I really loved the book. So those are things. This was elementary school. This was from elementary school as well. 5 were missing. I don't know if there was a movie about this. It might have been, because this was Lois Duncan, I think. Yeah, Lois Duncan. So there was probably a movie for that, but that was good about those kids that went missing. And then there's The Whisperers. I love this movie. Are you there? You here? Oh, that old lady was a mess. So the book kind of explains some of the things that the movie leaves out. But it's a British London type movie. I love it. And believe it or not, I was happy that her husband Archie got away with all that money. He didn't deserve it, but I was still happy for him. But I was sorry that her life, ended up being the way that it was. It was crazy. But the book did explain some of the things that the movie left up in arms, up in the air type thing. So those are the novels. Everything that you see down there and down there is just children's books, comic books. And I am definitely not going to go through all of them, but it's Snoopy, Charlie Brown. There's Christian graphic novels, Mr. Ballin, The Far Side, Raggedy Ann and Andy, all kind of little children's prayer books, all that kind of stuff. What is that? Georgie. So yeah, that's just children's stuff. Okay, so that is my book collection. And no, I never intended on doing anything that would take pictures, and how they do with Happy Planner, and they document the books that they've read and they write about it. I've read way more books than that. These are the ones that I just kept because of this nostalgia. But I read the whole entire series of the Last Kingdom. I read the book before I watched the series, and during the series, and after the series. That was 18 books, and I had them all in large print. And I love The Last Kingdom. I love the TV series on it's on Netflix. If I've never seen it, but I don't know if it's still on Netflix or not, but like, this was years ago. But I love The Last Kingdom. The Walking Dead series, I read that. But all of those books, I knew I would never read them again. So I donated them. So someone else could enjoy them. There are some other books that I bought that I read and donated. What is the one? Oh yeah, the one I gave you. The one that was for, what's the woman's name? Viola Davis. I read her book, and I hope you enjoyed it. I know you did. But that's it. That is it for my novels, and, like you, I'm a journaler, that. So I'll show you this. I rearranged my thing. I got all of what that is, B5. That's what that's called. Those are B5 journals. These are A5 journals. And then here is my junk journals. And then all of my traveler's notebooks. And then we have coloring books, Candyland. And then we have my Happy Planner. Right here, this Happy Planner. And then all that down there is scrapbook paper, Happy Planner refills, and A5 refills for these things for the traveler's notebook. So I'm sorry that the light went out. My camera's dying, but I hope this answers your questions and flicks your bick. And anytime you want to know feel free to ask. So thanks, and I will see ya. Bye.